Hello everyone, and welcome to the Australian TIG channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how to do some basic stuff, especially for beginners, on an 8-inch SCAD 40. It's a 316 stainless. We're going to do a joint fit up, high-low or alignment, and then we're going to do root and hat. So for this joint I'm using that pipe clamp with a galvanized bottom, so you don't want to touch any, you don't want to put any carbon on that stainless. I got both bevel edges. It's a feather edge. That's what I like to do for my TIG. You can put 16 land a little bit, just in case, to prevent any undercuts inside. Yeah, as you can see, all feather edge. Okay, now we're gonna close that pipe together. I'm gonna put a 532 gap rod. I'm gonna use a high-low gauge. It's a really good tool. And you can see on the side right now we got a 5 mil difference. So you want to zero that. You don't want any difference. You want a high-low on all four sides, 12, 3, 9, and 6. Or even if you got like oval shape, you want to split the difference. If you got like 1.5 mil or 2 mil difference, you want to put like mil everywhere. I don't want to go over mil. 1.5 mil max I can tolerate, but anything more than 1.5 mil I like them, or myself I like to do transition. Okay, for the bottom part, as you can see, it's a little bit. It's not even mil, less than mil. Okay, on the top part, is like 1.5 mil. I can handle. I like that. I don't mind that. It's actually almost 2 mil. I don't mind on the bottom, on the top part, but for the bottom, gotta be 0. Especially on the overhead, you don't want any high-low. You want to have nice and lined up edges inside the root. For the top part, you shouldn't be worried because all the gravity is gonna cover any high-low. Sides are, we got like 1 mil difference, so I got like 1.5 mil on the top and mil on each side. That should be all right. As any stainless, they were using the stainless came from the shop. They were using hydro caps, so when they, after all that heat and grinding and cutting, they're a little bit oval shaped, so you're not gonna get perfect lineup. But 1 mil maximum what you should tolerate. Okay, and we're gonna cut 3 bridge rods. I'm gonna put 1 on the top and 2 on the sides. I'm using stainless rod. It's gonna be 1 for the top. I'm just using cup 10, size 10 for this tacking, but usually I'm cup 8. This is the one left from previous welding. Okay, I'm gonna put 1 on the 3 o'clock. I like to do this by myself. Support with my knee, bend that bridge rod so you can tack it, you can break it. You want to check both sides. If you got a little bit bigger gap on one side, lower on the other. Okay, you're gonna put 1 on top. Now I got the other side. I can take now that clamp off. It's a good habit if you got stainless wedges or brass wedges, and just put inside while you're tacking so it doesn't really shrink. A little bit pull on me on this side, on the other side. Still good. I can still fit 1/8. I'm gonna use 332 rod, 332 316 for the root pass. There's still room for 332, but I like to have a little bit more room. Some guys like to go loose 532, and I put like 532 was gap rod, but still shrink. Okay, I'm gonna put the wedge supported a little bit, so when I put tack here, so it doesn't really pull even more. Just nice. But when you're tacking, try not to go outside over that edge. You don't want to do everything you do inside that bevel, because we're gonna cut and grind, so it's not gonna be visible. You don't want any marks from outside. Okay, now I got all 3 tacks. I'm not gonna put 4 tacks, only 3, because it's starting on the bottom. I'm using aluminum tape to cover, and then we're gonna purge. This line is really long. It's like over 200 feet long. So I'm using 4 purge hoses set up on like 50 liters per minute. And on that line you got a, well, minimum for me it was like approximately 1 hour, like to have proper purge. Then you can lower down if you got purge tool. You see that line is really long. It's all the way down to the end. I'm gonna check the vent side. Already got some holes here covered. I like to do 5 holes just to vent out any oxygen. 5 holes I always do with 5 holes. Some guys like 1 hole or whatever. So I got a little bit of wind on this side, so I'm gonna cover. Just gonna put that board here just to prevent from any wind coming inside again. And then you got the mix or turbulence. You want to purge out all that, especially because that line is really long. I'm using this beauty. It's a Big Blue 400. That's my favorite brand. I love that machine. I don't know if you guys ever worked with a Big Blue Pipe Pro. It's one of the best machines in the market for decades. Okay, I'm using this purge eye monitor. This is really handy, especially if you got a project that everything is 100% X-ray. You don't want to take any chances with sugaring inside, so you want to make sure that's 0. This is the rod, purge rod with that hole inside. That's where you suck. And you got a little pump, and then you pump it. You put a needle inside, and then you pump on that pump. And if your purge is a good setup, you have a really good setup with purge, there shouldn't be any oxygen inside. It takes time. As I said, it took me like almost an hour to get that proper purge. For me personally, I like to have 0 readings on oxygen, so no oxygen at all. If you got 0 on your monitor, then you know you 100% good. Some guys they go with 1 point something, 1.5 less, 0.9. I like to have 0. If it's not 0, you did something wrong. You gotta double check all your settings. We're gonna start on the bottom. Gonna fit from the inside. You keep the rod inside above that edge. I'm just doing constant feed on the bottom. I'm pushing up all the way to 8 o'clock. Okay, this is where we're gonna stop. As you can see, it's getting tight. I'm gonna put a little bit more. I'm still gonna climb all the way up to that tack. Okay, when you're starting again, I'm not using any grinder, so I'm just preheat that. When it starts melting, then you start dipping. You just add rod, keep that rod inside the puddle, and just keep climbing up. But here in this case, because it's already shrinked, so it's getting really tight here, I'm just adding slowly. I lower my amperage. I'm down on 85, somewhere around that. 85 amps, even less, 80. You don't really want to go too cold. You want to go enough just to open that keyhole, to keep that keyhole burning those edges. But in the same time, you have to add that wire on the sides so you don't have any undercut inside. You don't want any internal undercuts, so you just add enough rod just to cover inside and fill that gap. As you can see, the rod is stuck here, so I gotta pull it out and do it from the outside. I'm just gonna go deep inside. Gonna dip edges. Okay, I'm not gonna go any further closer to that tag. This is where I'm gonna stop because it's really tight. I don't want to have a real big undercut inside and then create even more mess. The same amperage I'm using here, around 85, 90, depends from the gap. But as you can see, I dip 1 2 3, dip 1 2 3, dip 1 2 3. That's how depends. You can do that dipping technique. You can do constant feed, whatever you feel most comfortable with. I like to change dip. This is where we're going up close to the top. This is where we got that 2 mil high low that was different. So I like to dip sides just to make sure everything is burned and covered, so we got proper uniform root inside. And right before that tack on the top, we're gonna stop. Now I'm gonna start on the other side. Same thing, feed from the inside, start on a tack, pause a little bit, preheat, let it start melting, then keep adding rod, keep doing like constant feed or whatever. You can start like deep 1 2 3 right away on the bottom. Just gonna wait for that. When it starts melting, then you just keep adding rod. You can hold it right there in the middle of that puddle. As I said, the bottom is most important, is because it's an overhead, so you don't want any high-low difference. That's why high-low gauges works perfect. You can give your pipe fitters hard time, like if you're not really good at fitting and you shouldn't be you're welding, so you got your own responsibility. You can give your pipe fitters hard time. Let them transition for you. You want to make perfect fit up, like 1 mil. That's max I can tolerate. Okay, now we're gonna continue above that tack. So I'm not touching tacks, I'm welding between the tacks. Same thing on this side. Deep, 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 deep sides or deep in the middle, and 1 2 3. This is kind of steps or technique you can do, like deep 1 2 3, deep 1 2 3, deep 1 2 3, deep 1 2 3. If you're gonna get a little bit bigger high-low inside, I like to do as I'm always doing, and you can, like in all my previous videos, I like deep on the sides, cover deep each side. Then you 100% burn those edges. If you like, sometimes if you got big high-low and then you just keep holding rod in the middle like constant feed, it can happen that you just you didn't burn actually those edges properly. Or even especially on stainless, if you go too fast with a constant feed, if you got one little misstep, you can see it inside the root. You're not gonna have that burned edges. Okay, on this side, the one side that shrink to me, that's really tight. We're gonna have to cut it. Okay, and I'm gonna cut the tacks off. Now on this side, as you can see, I'm gonna use 1/8 combo disc. It's good for stainless and carbon, but yeah, you don't want to touch carbon and then stainless. If you start with stainless, just keep using on stainless. So we're gonna run 1/8 open and fix those edges. do my feather edges again with a zip cut. Redo it again. Okay, then I'm using that blade to clean all that if you got any burrs on the side. Try to push them out, not in the pipe. Okay, now we cut the tacks. So now you want to cover again, because from grinder you put all that you put the oxygen back in, so you want to let it purge again. So on this long pipe we're gonna have some turbulence. It's not gonna purge right away like on test pieces, you know, like in shortened ones. So it takes me around 20-25 minutes to get proper purge again. That's why I like 5 holes on the vent side. That's how all oxygen inside that's trapped, it's gonna push out, that's for sure. If you got 1 hole, the oxygen might stay trapped. It also depends from the purge, like what's your setting, how much as I said, I like to 50 liters per minute. Okay, now we got 0 again. I'm gonna just pump a double time, 3 times more, just to be sure. It's a brand new monitor, so it's really sensitive, which is good. Okay, I fixed this side. This side is done. That's the side one that we opened with 1/8. Okay, now we gotta fill this side. Okay, when you start always half inch on the bottom, preheat, and then start adding wire. When you go up, when you do tie in, you always pause a little bit and go half inch over, so you're 100% sure you have a proper nice tie-in. As you can see here, when I was preheating, a little bit wire. I always like to add a little wire so it doesn't open on you. Sometimes, you know, if you pause a little bit too long, it might just open, be wide open sometimes. As you can see, I'm going deep side and side. The wall seems like a little bit thinner, especially when you open up and then you try to do feather edges again. It seems like they're a little bit thinner and they just open a little bit more. That's why you gotta have a good timing with adding that wire. Okay, on the top part, I'm not gonna do it right away. I'm gonna leave it open so I can we're gonna start on a hat pass for the bottom one side and then the other side. And the reason why I'm gonna leave that window open, so you can always check inside, especially when you don't have any suck back, and that's what's most common with stainless TIG, especially on stainless. So you can always check. So you don't want to go too hot on the bottom, just go enough just to melt that rod, to melt that root pass. Just keep I'm not pushing that rod, I'm just keeping that rod out in the middle and just stretching that puddle, covering. I like to go tight steps, cover all uneven spots on your root pass. You can go even a little bit hotter than with the amperage than you were using for your root pass. As I said, I was like 85, 90, depends. Like for hot pass, you can go 95, 90, 95. Depends of how much speed you can handle. Like what's good for you, go with that. This is only my recommended settings. Okay. Now I don't go with a hot pass all the way here, so you gotta leave room so we can close that root on the top. And that's it. I speed up that video, close that root, finish that hot pass. Then I'm gonna run a buffing wheel all the way around. If you got any arc marks on the side you want to get rid of, you want to have a nice clean pass. And that's it. Something a little bit for beginners. I hope you guys learn something, see something new, a little bit different. There you go. This is how when you clean the buffing wheel. It's nice and high. You can clean it also outside, but I don't do outside. Just when I do fill to flush, then I clean outside for my cap. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like this video, and thank you for your support. Please comment, subscribe, and we can see you in the next one. You guys play safe.